I put a post on TikTok recently. I think the title was, "If you get married, you're fucking mad." And
God, here we go. Go on, elaborate.
No, I either say have the right partner or have no partner.
Right.
You've got serious problems in your relationship, for weeks leading up to the fight. I mean, how the fuck do you get that out of your head?
Well, I've always said a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. My coach always told me that. What needs to be in order for Brendan to be the best version of himself? So many fighters just lose. Got all the talent and all the skill in the world, but they can't get it together outside the gym. I tell people that training's 10% of your day. What are you doing with the other 90?
You mentioned relationships, and you say, it's put strain on my relationship and it's hurt lots of things. I put a post on TikTok recently, which has been one of my most engaged posts for a while, where it was basically talking around. I think the title was, "If you get married, you're fucking mad." And
God, here we go. Go on, elaborate.
No, but it was obviously just a catchy title to talk about the fact that I believe in business, that you can't be successful in business. I either say have the right partner or have no partner.
Right.
And it was very much talking about how, I see so many businessmen or business ladies who are married or in a serious relationship where that person causes them so much distraction and so much difficulties within the business, whether it's getting involved in things they shouldn't be getting involved in, or just baffling their head so fucking much at home that by the time they get to work, they can't get anything done. And I mean, I was going to say, what's it like in professional sport? Obviously, it's the same, and if anything, it must be much worse because you've got you can never really step back from the pressure. At least in business, if you're having a bad day in the office, you can take a walk around the block, have a drink, whatever you need to do. But if you've just had a Barney with the missus, an hour before the fight, or you've got serious problems in your relationship, for weeks leading up to the fight, and how the fuck do you get that out of your head?
Well, I've always said a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. My coach always told me that. And when you're happy, you're dangerous because, I'll go back to what my mind coach told me as well. And, I want to get some good clips of this for Bruce because he's really helped me in this camp. And he made me list 10 things to what's Brendan's perfect fight camp look like, what needs to be in order for Brendan to be the best version of himself. So we wrote it down and it was the usual, no Barneys with the misses. It was, the diet's right. It was, are you getting 8 hours of sleep? It was, the correct sparring partners, the correct coaching, the correct game plan. And we listed it all down. And it's the first time I've actually wrote it down in a camp, like what makes Brendan tick. But yeah, I mean, I've had Barneys, mate, and then just not slept, not ate, not gone to sparring properly, had my head punched in. And if everything is not in order when you're a fighter, I mean, honestly, mate, I've been in this game my whole life from 15 years old and I've just seen so many fighters just lose. Got all the talent and all the skill in the world, but they can't get it together outside the gym. I tell people that training's 10% of your day. What are you doing with the other 90? A lot of them will just train, they'll be great in the gym. They'll eat a McDonald's burger, they'll go and argue with the bird, then mate, everything else is out of order. So touching on the point with what you're saying there, for that last tournament, mate, when I say everything was in order, I had an alarm on my phone for when I was going to sleep. I made sure I had X amount of litres a day. I made sure I was meditating. I was visioning the fight. I was correct sparring. I even brought southpaws in because the guy was a southpaw. I ticked every single box. So I knew once the cage door closed on that night that, if I lost, I couldn't have done any more. Could you imagine losing knowing that you could have done more? And I thought, I'll never ever live with myself. So maybe that's where the supreme confidence come from on the night, because it was supreme. It wasn't just like, could lose this. There was absolutely no doubt. And I think it was ticking all them boxes.
It's very good. I interviewed a guy on this podcast recently, a completely different topic. But he's an author who's interviewed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of CEOs and founders of businesses. Right. And obviously in that, he's had a whole mix of people from billionaires to multimillionaires to millionaires and less. And I was asking him what kind of character traits do you see within the billionaires, or what was setting the billionaires away from the millionaires? And I guess maybe I'm trying to see a parallel here between good fighters and like the world-class fighters. And he said the billionaires all have some sense of delusion. and that that they really believe that they can go and make those billions against any odds. They can come up with an idea that no one else believes in, that they've got to go and raise funds that everyone says is impossible to raise, but they don't think that what they're doing is a hard task. They think there's no way in the world that they will not, that they will have anything that stops them from achieving that. And for them, it's like a dead certain. It was just making me think about that when you were just saying what you were saying there, that you were going to win that fight. There was nothing that was going to stop you winning it.